Tonight to learn a little more about poly because after being in a monogamous relationship for 5 years, my common-law husband is informing me is poly, and I really don't understand it, and I'm having great difficulties in accepting, especially when, as you said, in communication, when he tells you the night before, oh, by the way, I'm going over to so-and-so's tomorrow night, and there may be others. I'm confused.
Have I a book for you?
I'm all sorts of feelings, jealousy, all sorts of things.
One of the rules for poly is really that you move at the rate of the slowest person in the configuration. So that there's a problem with the way you were told.
Yeah.
And that's not the three things that Quintus was talking about. There was no respect there. And that's probably part of your reaction, is that this is happening despite you instead of with your consent. Polyamory happens with your consent, your informed consent, prior to things happening, when it's done properly. So I got a book for your partner to read too.
Do each of your partners, and sorry, you may only be allowed one question, but do all of your partners know one another and get along? Or?
In my family, yes. That's not always the case. Some of us operate with long-distance partners and they haven't had a chance to meet the other ones. But the optimum would be that they at least know each other. I prefer that they're friendly towards each other. My partners that I live with are best friends. I joke that we're on a mandate and I'm their cover. Yeah, they all know each other. And that really helps with jealousy for me. Maybe not anybody else, but for me. To know the other people, to have met them and sort of decide if they're compatible to me, can we be friends? I'd rather be friends with my partner's lovers than have this sort of, because she grows in your mind to be this amazing femme fatale that's going to steal it away and all this, right? You meet her and say, oh, she's like, it's much better. So I would encourage that. Plus, it helps in your trust factor to know what he's telling you is in fact what's going on. Your trust factor is below right now, so you need to build up for it.
But would you still have the respect? Your home, your matrimonial home, your matrimonial bed, that he doesn't bring the other partner in there?
So those territorial boundaries, that's something that's discussed between partners. Some people don't have a problem with that. Other people, like in my house, outside lovers don't use our bed. We have an 8x8 bed that two of us sleep in, and nobody else comes to that bed. So then some people do that in bed that they share is not shared with anyone else. But that should be something that you have discussed and agree on, not something that one person gets to decide.
Thank you.
One thing you can take away from this is that now that you are informed, now that you're, disrespectfully as it was, it's time to start saying how you feel and what you want.
Definitely.
If you are in a position now that you want to keep this relationship, you want to keep this man in love, then you have to lay down your rules. You have to have expectations, and your sense of respect needs to be brought back.
Therapeutically, from a therapeutic point of view, when I'm working with couples or families that are operating in a polyamorous style, I emphasize very strongly the need for clear, concise boundaries that all parties agree to. And that is absolutely essential for the trust to be established. If you haven't agreed to something, you're going to feel exactly the way you're feeling right now, because it's not something you consented to. And I think it's a very healthy thing to have basic rules and functions, like what Zoe said about her bed. That's a boundary within her relationship style. And every polyamorous configuration is different. Every family is different. You establish what those rules are. There aren't rules that come from outside that you have to adhere to, or else you're a bad poly person. No, not at all. You and your partner or partners establish what those boundaries are going to be, and then everybody sticks to them. And if they get broken, then you work through that. But if you want trust to be in the center of all of this, they're essential.
Congratulations for coming here and asking questions.
I agree.
From all of you, how poly came into your life, how it was introduced, how you discovered it. Was it always there? Was it thrust upon you? I'd just be curious to know where this all started for all of you. Question number 2, I've seen a lot more poly stuff lately in the media than, like, say, 10 years ago. Is this growing? Mainstream perception? My third question, are any of you guys sleeping together?
Tonight, or that be very specific. For me, it started out a very sexual thing. I knew that I liked women. I just didn't like one woman. I liked this thing about this woman, I liked that thing about that woman, and I decided I didn't feel that it was right for me to say yes to one but no to the other. Later on through school and anthropology, I studied a lot of human condition, a lot of different human associations and relationships. And even in the animal world, there really is no such thing as monogamy as we see it. And it just didn't make sense to me from an emotional point of view and from a cerebral, intellectual point of view.
My ex-husband and I were together for about, this is going to be 14 years, and he fell in love with another woman. And after about 2 weeks of keeping this secret, he couldn't keep it any longer and just had to share it with me. And my first reaction was, oh my God, this is happening to me. And my next reaction was, I kind of want to meet her. About this. And we talked and talked. I actually met her. We talked and talked a lot. I am a librarian, and I started doing a lot of research because it was bringing up a lot of interesting ideas for me. In the process, I stumbled across a word online called polyamory and went, aha, this sounds like something that I could make work in my life. And I discussed it with my husband, and over the next several years, we learned more and more about poly. We actually joined a poly group. We started a little poly group online, talked to a lot of people. His relationship with the woman that he began with didn't last an extremely long time, and he actually is not practicing polyamory now, although he's extremely supportive of me. My relationship with polyamory took off, and hopefully this is going to last for a long time. And when I look back over my history of poly and the different experiences with people that I've had, I feel like I'm becoming more and more myself with every poly experience that I explore. With each new relationship, there's new growth. I came to realize that this was something that I always had inside of me, but I had no name for it. And once I discovered it, it gave me a handle to hang on to and a community to seek out, and that's where a lot of the growth really started. And also it helped me explore my bisexuality, which was something that I had never really thought that I could do much about before if I was living within a monogamous paradigm. So that was sort of an extra gift.
It's been hellish and it's been good. Like, poly's been good and it's been everything. I think I remember working at a summer camp and falling in love with one of the male-identified people I worked with and falling in love with the female-identified person that I worked with. And then by the end of the summer, they wanted me to choose. And it felt like the hardest thing in the universe to have to do, to decide who I wanted to love, because loving one of them gave me more love for the other person and more love for the world. So that's kind of been my positive experience of poly. And I guess I came to poly mostly through queer culture and back when I was a lesbian separatist dyke. And that's a whole other story. But so my roots, I think my roots are more, and not to diss poly in any way, some of the best people I know are poly. My roots are really invested in sexual freedom and in not letting anybody but myself police what I do with my body, no matter how much I love that person. So I guess that's really what I'm invested in. And my version of poly, like right now, may be something different in 4 years. I mean, I think of people who on the panel whose partners all live in the same house, and that makes me want to scream and run far, far away. If that was me, all my partners live in different cities, and that seems to be working pretty fine for everybody right now. And just to address just a little bit of your second question, we might get to it, but it seems like the cultures in North America at the moment are really, really hungry for other forms of relationships because we know we can love each other more and we don't want to be limited in our lives. So that's what I'm seeing in my practice, that's what I'm seeing in the media. Yeah.